Broadcasting through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command, fascinating.
Damn you all to hell!
It's the Solo Sci-Fi Podcast. This is episode 109 of the Solo on Sci-Fi Podcast. I'm back with my co-host Martin Fowler. I'm Michael Ball, aka Coclud. He is known as By the Gods of Science Fiction. Check out his great YouTube channel. And we're back. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Hello, and how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We've just been talking about Star Trek, the new stuff which is coming out, the Strange New Worlds, which is released today on Thursday. This should hopefully be going out on Thursday as well. Obviously, we're looking forward to it. We're a little bit nervous about how it's going to go, but we're also talking. Now, we've not seen the last episode of Picard, which is also just being released as we release this episode. So, you know, let's talk about it a bit now, because we have been featuring this show since it started, about our hopes and fears and predictions. So episode 9 has been released and we've both seen it. So Martin, what do you think of episode 9 of Star Trek Picard?
I've worked it all out. A couple of weeks ago.
Okay, because I think
that predictable. Then.
We talked separately about this, and we both figured out. Now, before you say what you say, like, you gave me an indication, but I think we both hit the nail on the head. We both think that Jurati is going to be the Borg that we saw in episode 1 at the beginning on the bridge, who was covered up, because why would she be covered up? Who then set the whole motion, the time loop. Yeah. So, is that what you were going to say?
Right. There's a book called Tide of Eternity, a Star Trek novel, anthology.
Right.
And apparently the Q are in it, and now it's not canon, but a lot of people now, if you have this theory in, it makes sense. There's 6 laws the Q can't break, right, in this book. Now, if it's canon, it's up to you. I'm not going to do, but one of the laws, the Q are not allowed to bring back the dead, right? They don't know what will happen.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah, okay.
Right.
That sounds good. Right.
They have rules, even though they're omnipotent. There's rules.
They still have some rules to follow.
So
yeah.
Now, on the basics of this, I could be wrong, but the one thing I do know, that Borg on the Stargazer was Jurati.
Yeah.
Right.
Very
now,
obvious.
if I'm wrong today, right, I will go see Batman the movie and suffer it, right. And I will watch Killer Tomatoes.
Yes, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which I just saw for the first time.
And we will review it as punishment.
Yeah, okay. It was very obvious. I mean, I've heard that Alison Pill, who plays Jurati, is not going to be in season 3. So if she's going to appear, this will be her last episode. Now, some people are saying that we saw her on the La Serena flying off at the end of episode 9. Is that it for her character? I don't think so. I think that was her flying off, going back to episode 1. But...
Well, that's what that's about. I mean, it's right. That's her at the Stargazer. Q intervenes because I don't know, he cares about Picard.
Okay.
And for some reason, he's got this fascination with him, right? So he snaps his fingers, sends them all back through time to undo it. But then, because they're not meant to explode the ship, she's meant to download whatever she's downloading, right?
Okay.
That is what she's meant to do, right? So this is what it's about. So they're going to end up today, right? Back at the fucking Stargazer, and then one of them is going to go, do not download whatever. Right now, I could be wrong. And Q has paid the ultimate price for it, because he's broken one of the laws. Now, that is all non-canon. But the one thing that is established, that is Jurati on them, or some other timeline version of
Jurati or Borg.
The thing that annoyed me in last week's episode, when they had that chat, and they were both looking into each other's mind, it all comes out that they've been assimilating everybody because she's lonely. I'm not making it up.
I know you're not. I saw it.
I was sat there last week watching it. Thought, right, here we go. We're going to get some real
What
big...
the fuck have they done to the Borg in this series?
And she says, well, in every reality, you've been defeated. That's why you fight so hard. And it came out, she said, but I know you're lonely. Now, people are going to say Why did she want Locutus? Because she was lonely.
Hmm.
So what's the fucking point, right, in assimilating billions of worlds, all because she's lonely? Do you know what I mean? I sat there and I thought,
Hang on, I need to ask you a question. Now, the Borg Queen, although she's a separate element, she is basically the a collective in her own. She's kind of like.
I always, my opinion of Borg Queen was that the Borg was of one mind.
Yeah, and she was like a representative, like.
But her job was to they have queens. They're like on a computer. They control the emotions.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like that's her function. That's why she's different. So, but the mind itself, like the big intelligence, controls it all. But there's like queens that regulate the flow.
Yeah, different sort of aspects of it all. Okay.
The mind thing doesn't become corrupted. But no, it's come out that she's been lonely and she needs some company. Well, just come round to my house. I'll make you a cup of fucking tea.
I'll buy you a kebab.
Yeah, and then when did all this start about her jumping fucking bodies and then she's going to become a new queen? Look, I enjoyed this. I have to say, up to about episode 6, I thought this was going very well.
Yeah, you said something similar last year. You said up to episode 8, and then you said the last two lost it.
Yeah, and then the week we've had 2 filler episodes. There were 2 fillers which just were pointless, and then last week I thought, right, they're getting the battle on the ship to take out the Borg Queen, and then we got this, and then we're going into Picard's childhood. Baltar, his dad, he wasn't the baddie we thought he was, because he opened the fucking door and his mother. And all that's touching, we get that, it drives him to care.
Yeah, but it was too much in there. It was too big a factor in the show.
Yeah, but you're not going to be thinking about that when you've got a load of people running around a building with machine guns, are you?
Yeah, but it was, I don't know what happened with this season. I mean, I was so. What annoys me is the first 2, even the third was okay. It started off so well.
It did.
It really did. I had such high hopes, and then it's just completely floundered and completely fallen apart.
Yeah. And then we found out, because you're defeated in every reality by a Borg Slayer, right? There's somebody somewhere in every reality. There's somebody or some race that come up and they get defeated, and in that. In our it's the Federation, right? And right? And all because she's lonely. Now you could connect First Contact to that, because the Borg Queen wanted Data to replace Locutus.
Yeah.
You know, but then she could have chosen anybody from the Sodding Collective, and you know.
One thing I did like.
It just don't make any sense, mate.
One thing I did like was the idea, because obviously we've seen different Borg Queens, and I kind of like the idea of how a different or new Borg Queen is formed from the old. I can see that working, and I think that bit at least worked quite cleverly. The way that the consciousness is simulated to another person, and slowly the essence of the Queen is inherited to the next host. A bit like a Dax, a bit like almost like a Trill with a symbiont. I kind of like that. I thought that was good. So it's not all bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I mean, that she's doing what she's been doing.
It's the principle of what she's about is what you're talking about. I understand where you're coming from.
That is what I've got issues with.
Yeah, I understand that as well.
When the Borg first started, they wanted your technology and your knowledge, and that made them really ruthless. Now we're on to this. She's lonely. You know, and I have to say, I thought the Borg Queen was the centre of this.
I still think that element was very good in season 2. I mean, I don't, and I actually think Jurati. I think she was fine. I mean, okay, let's look at, because obviously we're making predictions. Let's look at the pros and a lot of the cons for this season that we've seen. Alison Pill as Jurati, I think her character's been good. I think the Borg Queen was good. I think the interaction was good. I think the first 2 episodes, especially the Stargazer, Rios, all the others, they all seem to work quite well. I didn't care. I think 7 of 9 was wasted. I don't think she really did much this season.
She has been wasted.
And she's just been there. She could be anybody. She could have been, Doug Smith from Croydon or something was there instead of 7 of 9. You know, it just. She was wasted. Again, the whole Picard backstory with the pet. Well, one thing which is interesting, which I watched episode 9 a second time, and I missed something the first time around. There's a scene in TNG season 1 where No One's Gone Before, where it's the episode where they go to the end of the universe and they see visions and stuff, and Picard sees his mother as an old lady, and she says, "Come over here, Jean-Luc. Come and have a cup of tea."
That's not his mother. It's an aunt.
What do you mean it's an aunt?
auntie. It's an auntie. Yeah.
What's that? What do you mean auntie?
You're on about where they got all that universe where you think of things and it happens.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he saw a representation of his mother, and it wasn't.
That was his auntie or something.
No, it wasn't. That was supposed to be his mother, because he said "maman," "maman" in the episode.
Oh yeah, right.
Right? But in this episode, he did say that he used to dream about sort of seeing his mother as an old lady and making. So it was a link because it was such a big discontinuity. So they really had to shoehorn in that dialogue for people like me who remember seeing. But the other thing they didn't got wrong was that the mother as an old lady had a French accent, whereas his mother in this show has an English accent. So, really sad, I know.
Accent.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think he's got a Northern accent. No, he's got a. No, he has.
The undertones of it.
I've never noticed it. Has he really? Do you think?
I think so. Maybe because I'm Northern. I don't know.
I've not noticed it. I mean, I never even. I mean, I just thought he had a. He's just got a broad, rather posh accent.
He's got a Northern undertone. So you listen.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we don't know in England where the Picards went to, do we? So he could have gone to Yorkshire or something. You never know. He could have gone
from
to.
Yorkshire.
He could have gone to Newcastle. Why I man? It's Jean-Luc Picard, man.
Why I, Riker? Why I?
Make it so, man.
Why I, Wolf? Kick his fucking head in.
Oh, he could have gone to Liverpool. All right, there. All right, it's a Starship Enterprise and Enterprise deal. Like, all right, fair enough, mercy. Sorry.
The disappointment. The thing with Guinan and the bot.
Oh, Guinan, that was a waste as well. Complete waste.
Right. That, and then he turned up. I found that they've wasted John Delancey.
Q! What the fuck happened to Q? What is Q doing? He's gone.
Well,
he's been on the show for about 5 minutes in 9 episodes.
In all together, yeah. It must have been, 10 minutes in?
Literally. All right, 10 minutes, but not much. Not much at all.
You know, we get the odd, like we got that episode where he's there in that restaurant snapping his finger.
And he couldn't work or whatever.
And then you're thinking next week we're going to get more of
Never did it. Never. Such a wasted opportunity. Wasted.
Nothing.
So wasted.
Wasted. Such a fine character and actor as him.
Yeah.
But it's the kind. I mean, surely. I mean, today this episode has to be about him now. This has got to.
Well,
be.
we know he's leaving, so whether this stepping back in time when the Borg Queen wipes out the Borg Collective somehow because of some sort of temporal paradox, you know, because it does indicate that the Borg or the Q Continuum are going to be destroyed, or at least or damaged, or lose their powers.
It's either him that's done.
But they won't. Will they approach it? Or will they just do?
Them.
Or they just do a line of dialogue and that's it? Q's gone. And we never know what happens.
But in Discovery, what they said.
Yeah, 700 years in the future. Yeah, they did that. I know. Yeah, I know that.
You see what I found? What they're doing with some of these series now. Discovery first season. When Lorca came into it, there's a scene for about. It's a bit longer than normal. It's about 20 seconds where he looks at his own reflection.
And it's the mirror. Yes, very clever. Yes. There are some clever elements like that. Yeah, I agree.
So the Easter egg in this is
the Q Continuum.
The Borg at the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And by episode 3 or 4, there's an Easter egg somewhere that's got the answer. It's finding it. You know, it takes a few episodes. But the one thing that is now established is that is it. We knew this several weeks ago. It was too easy.
Too easy, yeah.
The cover the face, that's it. So now, it's what is with the Q now. What is going on here? And I thought last week we would have got some groundbreaking Q thing revelation. And he said it's not about changing. It's escaping the trap. That's what he said It's
Yeah.
and that is obviously a clue, but because even he's trapped in this thing with them. So and how they're going to get back, I don't know. We're going to find out today, but the revelation of Q has just been it's been pointless having him in this series. It is. It's been such a letdown, you know, and I just feel again. Well, I don't want to go full judgment because I haven't seen it yet, and we haven't.
Yeah, but you're not exactly excited compared to you were like the beginning of the season,
No,
are you?
I admit I was. I thought the first.
So was
5 or
I.
6
So was I.
episodes
Look at us.
were
We were
really
singing his
good.
praises. Yeah, I know. We both felt the same. And now I just feel like I assume it's going to be a longer episode because they've got a lot of stuff to clear up and finish off. I assume it'd be like an hour long. I would assume.
Yeah, I'm not that bothered about season 3. No. I remember when they did.
Yeah, but the guy that's doing season-
Jenna coming back.
The guy that did season 3 did the first episodes, 2 episodes of season 2, and they were really good.
Yeah.
So, and he did those well. He gets stuff. Apparently, the guy that did the later half of Picard is the guy that's doing Strange New Worlds. He's the executive producer. So, no, I know. Look, I don't care. Everybody who's seen
Thank
it,
you for destroying
everybody who's seen Strange New
Thank
Worlds
you
so
for
far, as
destroying-
they have been all positive about Strange New Worlds so far. It's got a lot of good vibes.
just destroyed my whole existence with that.
You're welcome. Welcome to the Cellar One Sci-Fi Podcast, episode 192. Well, 102, not 192. Well, let's just see how it goes. Like I said, I'm going to watch Strange New Worlds first, I think, because it's released later in the UK on Amazon anyway.
They don't get it. We don't get it. Too.
No, I'm talking about the Picard on Amazon. Yeah, Strange New Worlds apparently is coming out now because this was only released yesterday. Paramount Plus is coming. I think it's June the 22nd in the UK. So, to watch
Saying
it
it
from
all
its... Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, what we can say is that there are places to look where you can see it, but obviously we're not going to
And I
go on
don't
about that.
condone any of it.
No, exactly. But, I mean,
just
what I will
don't-
say...
They're on my screen.
What I will say-
like a magic force.
A lot of people will be doing that because they can't actually get it legally. They can't.
I
go
go to bed and it all downloads into my head. No, it does.
What have you got? A Paramount Plus collective? Have you got some sort of like
I'm connected
USB
to
or
the
something?
Vault Collective,
You've got
yeah.
a wire up your bum, which is directly to the Paramount Plus hub or something, and you're like, "Brr," and you just seen it. You don't actually
Well,
download
I'm
it. You
not
just
paying
gotta.
$7.99 a month for that.
I don't know. I mean, didn't you hear that apparently the Netflix is really starting to do badly now? I can't remember if I mentioned it in the previous episode.
I cancelled mine too.
So, all right. So let me ask you. I mean, I've still got it, but I hardly ever use Netflix. So why have you cancelled it? Because I use it.
The only time I went back to Netflix, say like when something like Stargirl or Titans or stuff like that, or The Expanse when it were on, or
yeah.
even
Actually, The Expanse was on Amazon though, wasn't it? Eventually. It went to
yeah.
Amazon.
Originally it was on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on there. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But if there were a new series that come in, I'd jump in. I'd watch.
But if the new Star Trek
I
shows,
never watched any movies on it. I'd watch the, but I'd watch it about twice a month. That would it.
Yeah, I hardly watch it myself. I mean, my family watch it a bit. I don't. But, I
Nothing
mean,
on it, because what's on there is on Amazon mostly.
I know. I think it's all the Star Trek series. They're on now. They'll now be on their own network. They used to be. Some of them were on They were on Netflix. They've gone now in the UK.
Yeah.
Again, because it's so nice to just watch an episode anywhere. You can't now. And I think the Stargates were on. This is running out of time. What's it going on about? I've got a 40-minute time limit on my thing. Let me just. Sorry. I'm using Zoom, and it did an update this morning, and it's only 2 of us on here, and it's saying that I've got a 40-minute time limit. Now, have they changed it? Because it always used to be for 2 people.
Earlier this week, no.
So in a minute, I might have to sign off and reconnect to do part 2. I'm really sorry, Martin. I don't know why this has never done this before. As I'm talking to you, they've changed it now.
It's because you've been talking about Netflix. That's why they're out to get us now because of you.
It sounds like it.
The Borg are coming. I'm off.
Well, look, let's just finish off with it before we go into our focus of the week. just to say
Now,
that
we've got to talk about the Obi-Wan trailer.
Oh, go on. Yeah, actually, we've got 10 minutes before we go into the focus. Go on. What do you think of the?
Yeah.
What do you think of the trailer? Go on.
Oh, marvellous. Absolutely marvellous.
Yeah, you pleased with it? Is it good?
Oh, yeah. The Inquisitors, all of it, brought it live action.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's.
I'd like to know that woman that's chasing him as well, you know. So he does meet Vader again. There's another battle then.
Yeah, and there was some there were like Inquisitor stormtroopers which were there, which I've never seen before. I can't remember what they're called. There's a specific name.
Yeah.
They looked a bit like Dark Troopers, but they weren't, and they had something to do with the Inquisitors, which is good.
So he must have battled. I can accept that he battled Vader 20, 30 years.
This is
him again.
Are we actually going to see any like Imperial? I'd love to see like Imperial cruisers and stuff like that. And
Oh
you know,
yeah.
Do you think we'll see all that?
Yeah,
we saw some TIE fighters up in its sort of docks at the top of the thing.
Yeah, we're saying the Emperor as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I get the impression they've not shown much at all. They're really keeping it close to their chests about most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the new trailer feature was from the first thing that we saw about a month ago. So yeah, they really are keeping it close to their chest what they're releasing. It looks like a lot of it's not going to be on Tatooine, which is good as well, because after the Book of Boba Fett, which I have enjoyed and still think that was a good series. Let me quickly ask you before we move on.
Yep.
Book of Boba Fett, now that you've seen it, in respect of what they've done with Star Trek over the last few months, does the Book of Boba Fett now come across as a pretty solid series after what Star Trek have done with their franchise?
I enjoyed Book of Boba Fett when he was in it. But when unfortunately, when the other characters appeared, you got more of a reaction.
Yeah.
Than him.
But I still
it's
enjoy it.
shame.
I still think it was a good
But
solid series.
it's another great window into the world of Star Wars. So I enjoyed it. I've watched it again.
I want to watch it
enjoy
again.
it.
I'm going to watch
I
it
really
again
did
before
enjoy it.
before
It's
Obi-Wan.
just
I
a
think.
shame that he should have been, you know, instead of just going, I'm Boba Fett and walking around in a nappy at that time. You know, going, I'm Boba Fett. Yeah, I mean, and then suddenly we got the Mando, and it was like, we got season 3 at Mandalorian just came in, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think that was fair to him, you know.
No, it was strange. I know. Oh well.
But it was good. I like the characters.
Well, it's less than a month now until that, and then of course about a week after that we've got the Orville return. So there we go.
Yeah.
So lots to watch. So okay.
In 9 days' time, we find out who could be the new Doctor.
Well, we might do. We're not sure, but it's very soon. But I think it'll be a male Doctor of a different ethnic race. That's what I think.
Probably.
I think it'll be a non-Caucasian
But it's like, I'm
male
not bothered.
Doctor. No, I know. I'm just speculating on what I think the
I
direction
just
they might
want
go.
them to be bloody good. I want some decent writing. And then, but I've got a feeling we're on Black Flag right now.
But do you think Russell T Davies can save it?
I don't know. Sometimes they've brought people back before to save stuff and it hasn't worked, has it? He's moved on. He moved on.
It's been on for nearly. I mean, all right. If it goes on for like another 3 years to 20 years anniversary, that's pretty good. 20 years.
So, yeah.
I reckon they might finish it after 20 years and say, look, we're gonna have a break for 5 years and then come back and see what it goes.
I liked what you said the other week about Jodie Whittaker. You compared it to like
The Fifth Doctor.
the Fifth Doctor, call it that sort of era. That's
Yeah.
where we are at the moment. For them to bounce this back at a massive level, it's going to take the work. But I feel that Russell T Davies left a decade ago. He's moved on. Maybe he's reconnected. He's got big ideas. I don't know.
But it's a different world. It's a different world.
I would like to see it go for another 4 to 5 years. You know, I really would, because I love Doctor Who. But where it's been going recently, I agree.
But you don't think, I mean, before we just move on to the focus, you don't think it's partly that as we've got older, our perspectives of these shows is just interpreted differently through real life experiences?
I do.
Because I do think there is a factor about that, which is...
Because I've been on Facebook pages, and a lot of people like it, you know. And I'm not knocking them. A lot of people really do like Jodie. She's got a big fan base. A lot of people love her, you know, and they think the stories are great. And But like, it's the key, isn't it? I watched somebody, you know that Mark Sheppard, the actor.
Yeah.
I watched him on this podcast, and he said when he were in it for them 2 episodes, President Nixon, he said the thing is with Doctor Who, he said everybody is brought up with their doctor. Jodie
Absolutely.
Whittaker will be somebody's doctor 10 years down the line.
Exactly. No,
it won't be.
and as we're
David
getting
Tennant.
we're getting further from our doctors.
Yeah, way further, and it's like Star Trek. We've got a vision of it. We are open. We've been watching it, but there's something.
Look, okay, I'm still. What I've seen in this new Star Trek series, I know Anson Mount, I know the Ethan Peck. I'm still relatively positive with this one. I really have.
Yeah,
it just looks good.
That.
It looks good,
Looks
and
very retro.
Yeah, but in a good way.
And
They're trying to be. They're trying to embrace 1966 and make it in 2022, but not making it. I don't know. In some ways, I wish they.
Continues did a great job.
Yeah, but they didn't go that way. They're kind of that's what I'm saying. It can be done well with something like Star Trek Continues. So, but they didn't go that direction. So again, it's because younger people, they wouldn't want to see like the Star Trek Continues sets because it does look to a degree. I think it still looks good, but from what they can do, that's why. I've got mixed feelings about that. But they've done what they've done. It's the way it is. So I'm running out. I've got to do the update of this thing. So we'll go into our focus of the week and talk about a great film, which I'm surprised we haven't focused on before. So here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
Right, so this week we are focusing on a film which came out in 1988, and it's a science fiction action film written and directed by John Carpenter, and it was based on the 1963 short story 8 O'Clock in the Morning by Ray Nelson. It starred Roddy Piper, Keith David, and Meg Foster, and it is, of course, They Live, which is a film that follows an unnamed drifter who discovers through special sunglasses that the ruling class are aliens concealing their appearance and manipulating people to consume, breed, and conform to the status quo via subliminal messages in mass media. So, Martin, tell me how you got into They Live.
I saw this in the cinema.
Did you? This is not what you tend to find out about these films and go and see them. So, let me ask you a question.
I was in one night about 2 o'clock in the morning, saw an advert for this film.
Oh, you saw an advert. That's how you heard about it. Okay.
And I thought, what's this? And it were only limited release.
Wasn't big over here in the UK, was it?
No, it wasn't until video it really took off.
That's right. Exactly.
So I went to see it and I thought, this is amazing, this. What a film. And it's so relevant for today. It really is.
Yeah.
Warning everybody
yes.
where we're going.
It was way ahead of its time based on social media and all the stuff that it's actually, all the messages you're getting through advertising and hashtags and looking at your phone. And it's funny, actually, today when I was thinking about this film, I was out and about and I saw people like zombies staring at their phones, crossing the road, not even looking where they're going. And of course, it's really... It was just a very, very clever film in the power of subliminal messages through, obviously it wasn't social media back in the 80s, back then it was TV and radio, but it was very apt and very poignant based on today's society. So did you love it as soon as you saw it? I mean, I certainly did.
For me, it's the premise of the film.
Yeah.
The music is
Dum,
exactly
dum, 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 yeah. There's only one scene in the film I didn't like. I will actually you explain a bit more about it and I'll tell you about the scene that I wasn't mad on. But go on about the stuff you like.
It's the character Roddy Piper plays. He's
Roddy
an
Piper's character.
Decent working man.
Yeah.
He's never done all wrong. He's decent. He believes in America. He believes in all the positive thing, that things are gonna get better.
Yeah. He's an optimist.
It's the average man thrown into insane circumstances, and it's that crossover which makes that film amazing. When he puts them glasses on and sees what he sees, and you're experiencing that reaction with him, because it's like he takes them off.
It's your perception. You're seeing it through his eyes.
You're
Yes.
seeing it.
Yes,
and he's
you are.
just, well, you don't even know who he is, really.
No.
He's just this man who's looking for work. He thinks things will get better. Because you meet David Keith? He's superb actor. He were in The Thing.
Yes. Yes, he was in The Thing.
Superb actor. He's got that awesome voice. He's like,
Yes.
he's not as positive.
He doesn't want to know. He just wants to get on with it and keep mind his own business.
Because
And of course,
he said where we worked, there were a buyout. We gave the managers, we gave them, we put money into it, our own money into where we, and they gave themselves a pay rise and flogged it, and we all lost his jobs. He was like the other side of the card, the negative way, and he wasn't like that. Roddy Piper.
No.
He were like, yeah, but things will get better,
Yeah.
it will. And then
Absolutely.
suddenly, when he puts them glasses, you're into this whole other world of being fucked over. These aliens, these like the ultimate capitalists.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you remember that homeless guy? They're in the underground network, and they make that homeless guy. He's always sat in a chair moaning at the television.
Yeah,
Suddenly he's
yeah.
got loads of money. He said, "Hey, we've all sold out." Like he went. He was like the greedy person that he had nothing, but they offered him a couple of quid, and he just sold it all out. They bought the fucking planet behind.
Yeah, they
that
did
back.
buy it. Yeah, they bought the planet.
And
That's the
our
whole
leaders
thing.
have flogged it. They flogged
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
fucking planet.
Yeah, it was so clever. And of course, he had a TV station where they're sort of working.
Yeah.
Look at and it reminded me a bit of the aerial transmitters are based on the 5G masts during the COVID, where they thought that you were getting these messages and all these things were happening, and you were getting COVID through all this crap. And of course, that was crap, and of course, the film was fictitious. But it's amazing how, again, some of the elements of this film were paralleled in where we are today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the scene I talked about. Now, I do like this film a lot. I'm a big John Carpenter fan, and I like you. I remember the first time I saw it, and I was absolutely shocked when he puts on the glasses. And I think it was the scene where it was a guy. He looked like a bit of a pompous sort of middle class guy trying to buy the paper from a newsstand, and he puts on the glasses, and then you see him, and he looks like this, almost like a skull kind of thing, like an alien kind of thing. And he just couldn't believe it, and then it starts to sink in, and he goes to the bank, and he starts seeing these people talking to their watches and stuff like that. Again, talking to your watches that we do now. It was just quite. I like the premise of it. I like the fact that these subliminal messages, where every building has messages like sleep, obey, and like money this is your god, is like on the dollar bills and stuff like that. It's just a very clever film. It's a film that makes you think, and that to me is what science fiction is all about. No,
You never get that film is one of the best science fiction films ever made.
but it's not as well known as a lot of others.
No.
I mean, I think it's a cult. It's definitely a cult classic.
I saw it in cinema. Not a lot of people sort of knew it, and then it came on. It exploded on VHS.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, quite frankly.
Because I remember my parents rented it out, and they were impressed with it. They just picked it up and thought, "What's this?" I'd seen it.
I think the only scene I didn't like was with the guy where they had this very, very long fight where he's trying to get him to put his glasses on, and it was literally 5 minutes. And to me, it got a bit ridiculous, kind of thing, because
Yeah,
all right,
it goes on for about 15
it goes.
minutes, doesn't it?
Yeah, was it as long as that? And it was to
It's
me
the longest fight scene. I think it might have been, but at the time it was the longest fight scene in history.
I didn't know that, but that was the only bit of the film I just didn't. It just seemed unnecessary.
Yeah.
Whether they were doing it for that record, I don't know why they did it.
Because even now, even when I was watching it, when they had that punch up down that alleyway,
yeah,
I
that's
was
what
like,
I'm talking
oh,
about.
just put the fucking glasses on, will you?
Yeah, that's the only bit of the film I hate.
Pair of glasses on.
That is the only bit of the film I don't like, and it was now to me it didn't ruin the film at all. But
No.
when I watch the film, I always say, "Oh, here comes the scene. Here we go." And I don't, but I'm often tempted just to skip it through just a few minutes just to get to the bit where he finally puts the glasses on. I don't know why they did that.
I love the scene when he walked into the bank and just started taking them all out.
Yeah, exactly. I like the bit when he goes, "You're okay. You really fucking ugly."
Do you remember when that cop said to him, "You're just as fucking ugly to us as we are to you"?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
do
then
remember
the
that.
film turns into something else because when they go into that underground thing under the city, you get to see that it's like these aliens, these executives have got briefcases. And you
Yes.
see the universe.
Yes, there's like a portal. You can see a planet in the
it's
distance.
absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
shocking. Yeah, it's a special sort of transport hub
Scope of
thing.
it. And
Yeah.
when they're having that talk, all them rich people, exactly, they're going, "We, the elite."
Yeah.
The film is just genius. He's this like average, everyday person. He's decent. He's an optimist. That's what makes this film so good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's this optimist that he believes things are going to get better. Don't matter how bad it's going to get. You've got to believe.
Well, you get people like that in real life, even ones who've
and
fallen
we
hard
need
times.
people like that.
Yeah, we do. And you get people who have good lives, and nothing's ever good enough.
I
they-
mean, what about when she picked him up and she knocked him out of the car? I know when he kidnapped her and she knocked him out of the house.
Yes.
I mean, I felt
Meg
that
Foster.
when she
Meg Foster's a great actor. I like Meg Foster. I've seen it.
She's
Is it
got
Meg
weird
Foster?
eyes, hasn't
She
she?
was in DS9 episode with Cisco where he was he was writing
The
Anstem. And she
muse
was like
where she
forcing
was
the
feeding on his son.
yeah, the muse. That's it.
Yeah,
Oh, you know the
yeah.
episode. You see, and I've seen her in quite a few things. I've always liked her roles in whatever she's been in.
She's really creepy. I think she's lovely, but she's
Yeah, I
got
think.
weird eyes.
Yeah. I
And
know
she's
she
got
has.
that creepy voice, and that's
Yeah.
why she works so good.
And she always she's always very well cast. I've always
Yeah,
whenever she's in, she's always good at whatever she's in.
Great
It's always a bad character.
But
Yeah.
when she knocked him out of the front window and he went flying down that hill, I felt that. I mean, it was like how she knocked him out that window.
Yeah.
And the ending was great because you weren't suspecting she was involved in it all.
No, and she was there all the time, and it was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, you know. I mean, do you remember the very last scene when the transmitter, which is cloaking everything, shuts down, and there's this guy who's having sex, and
Yeah,
she, and he
she's
goes,
riding away.
yeah, and she goes, "Everything all right, baby?" And he's like, that was the last scene. It was a really comical last scene.
There's that one sat at bar, they're all staring at him.
Yeah, because and of course now you see them in
What
colour.
broke?
Yeah, there was some funny. There was a big mix of horror, comedy,
Yeah.
social awareness,
Yeah.
and as you said, it was just ahead of its time. It really was.
Oh, yeah. It's still relevant to a lot of.
It's.
political
I mean,
things
do you?
today, that movie.
Are you surprised it's never had a TV adaptation or a sequel or anything by
How
now?
would you do it?
Well, I would have thought if it was now, it would be a remake.
It'd have to be I mean,
They couldn't really do a continuation because
No.
I mean, yeah, but it might have been interesting to see how the world changed once their existence was
well,
revealed.
then you're going down path of Alien Nation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And do you really
That's
want
true.
to go down that?
No, I suppose they've
I mean,
already
they're
covered that
these
alienation.
greedy sort of like aliens that have bought the planet. Well, they bought the planet. You've got to do it from a resistance point of view, I suppose.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
You know what I mean? You learn. I don't know. The ending, I mean, I was gutted when he got killed at the end.
I was
I know
surprised
he
he got
defeated
killed off
him,
at
he
the end.
exposed it to the entire
Yeah,
world.
but
Where
you thought
does
he'd
it go
survive it,
from
didn't
here?
you? You thought he'd survive it, and he didn't. And of course, but
No.
he did. But he did what he needed to do. They were exposed, and I suppose maybe that's what's so poignant about the film, that you do like we're doing now. You're talking about, what would have happened next, and maybe
Yeah, well,
that's
that's the
that's
question.
why it never was followed up. There was no continuation. So
Could you? I mean, in your opinion, could you, like, if you? I don't know. You see, I'm like you. There's certain things I don't think like Back to the Future. It should never.
no,
be done.
never
And I
remake.
think
They can't.
Live
They
is
won't.
up in that category. Should it be remade?
No. I agree entirely. I've seen so many remakes of classic
You'd have
films.
to- I mean, you say with today, it's just an end up screw.
They would. It would be terrible.
You'd have to have writers like them that did The Expanse to do it. somebody like, I'd be very wary of it. I'm surprised there hasn't been, like, I don't know how to say, a remake or a TV series. It could be done.
That's my next question. I mean, I could see a TV series working.
Yeah, but
Slow plot points where there's slowly be maybe there's like a sort of group of like in the film, a group of people who are fighting it in the background, and then maybe you could even have a character
shadow
that's
war.
or you could even have like one or two characters on the alien side who actually are more a bit like the
sympathetic to the human.
but like what was the ones in V? Yeah, the fifth element was fifth column. Like that. You could have a fifth column in there. I could see that working.
And that you build it over 5 years to the exposure moment.
And then maybe finish it in a similar way.
Character.
Leave it open. Or they could do a short kind of continuation of what happened afterwards and whether the aliens left or I don't know. I mean, I just say that the whole point is
40 years later, it's going to be Alien Nation, isn't it?
Yeah, we would have said that. Yeah, I can see what you're right. I mean, it's just.
I mean, what you found out all your political leaders have blocked the planet behind your back.
Because George Bush was an alien, wasn't he, in the film?
Yeah,
you saw George Bush as president.
Because this film are all sorts of conspiracy buffs. Them that are all into all this time, but this film.
They'd love that. They'd swallow that up.
This movie's a foundation stone.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Absolutely, exactly.
And political activists. This film is so much in the subconscious of society.
Yeah.
And it's never dated. This film, but the thing is, could you make what happened after that moment? I mean, if people found out your leaders had flogged the planet, people are going to be rising up across them. Even the military, everybody be rising up.
A bit like a drinks party during COVID in Downing Street. But you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I think it'd have to. I think They Live. If you were going to do a sequel, it should have been done 40 years ago.
I'm still surprised there wasn't something done. Unless it really flops. Maybe it flops. I'd say maybe it really flops. Maybe it really didn't do well, and it's more of a cult classic. Maybe that's what it is.
But the thing is, I think you could do I'd say more a very well written 5-part, 10-episode season over 5 years.
Like a short. Yeah. Okay.
It could work. The Secret War.
Or even a mini-series, or maybe a mini-series.
Yeah. I think it could work. It'd be interesting, same premise, and his character. You have the same character, but it's set in another universe, and where it goes to that moment on top of the sky.
It's like certain shows. Like I was a big fan of The Dead Zone, and they made that into a TV series, and I've watched the first few episodes of that. I've liked it, but I never got into any more of it because, although it's an interesting premise, how many times can you have the character who's kind of like senses other people and senses things going wrong? And that's just I just think that with They Live, I think there's a strong enough story originally that you can really make a more of an interesting TV show from it.
It's open to expansion.
I think so. I think it can really. They can even introduce some other elements. They can even introduce some other elements we're not aware of. For instance, there might be another alien race that maybe that are against us being almost hypnotized and being controlled, and they want to get involved and break it up for their own ends.
But then,
I don't know. I can see that.
With the TV, you are going down the invaders path here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can see it.
Which says nothing against if they can get that right. It's right. It's like did we ever that film I recommend, the Charlie Sheen one where he's an astronomer. He works for SETI and he picks up the alien signals. But
I can't remember what it's called. I've seen it, but I don't remember it very well. We should do that at some point.
That is a good film. The sequel is terrible, but
I don't know. I can't remember what it's called though.
It's the same.
Wasn't Arrival? It's not Arrival, is it?
It's a conspiracy movie.
Was it Arrival? It wasn't called Arrival.
Arrival. Yeah.
It was Arrival.
It's a conspiracy movie. And basically, I'm not saying it'd be like the invaders, but you've got a load of corporate aliens that took over world secretly and are resisting. And on top of that, they're fighting the authorities as well.
So maybe they're thinking it'd be too similar to some of these other shows, which I suppose in some ways that's correct. Like I said, Alienation, the invaders. We're talking about
But
all
then
these other
you
things
add
which
in-
have already been covered.
But normally with the alien infiltrators, it's about wiping out humanity and conquering the planet. With these, the difference is
It's
the movers and shakers buying up planets and manipulating and working with other betrayed people that have sold the race out. Yeah, there is a lot to explore. It. You go beyond the invaders' premise with this.
sure.
But it's like corporations and
Yeah.
corporate aliens. I love the concept of corporate aliens. You know, why not?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Buy up a planet. Why? Maybe we've done it.
Yeah. Well, look, we better wrap things up because I've got to go back to work in 5
Yeah.
minutes. So, final thoughts on They Live.
10
Cult
out of
classic,
10 for me.
10 out of 10. I would love the idea of some adaptation. Like I said, it's probably likely that if they did a TV version or a remake on the movies, it would flop. It wouldn't work. It's one of the bit, as you say, it's a TV series possibly if it's done well, but again, maybe it's just leave it alone. It's a classic. So with 5 minutes to go, I'm going to any news that you want to share before you sign off. Oh, fantastic! Brilliant. Is it the same one I told you about?
Yep, I went to the link. Yeah, cheers for that.
Brilliant. Thank you. I'm glad you got that. Don't forget, colour the edge of the cardboard black,
Yeah, I will do.
and then put a bit of Brit stick on, and then maybe next week we could see your. I mean, mine's downstairs, so I can't get mine now, but it does look really good. The first 108 episodes we've done together, I'm really proud of it. I think we've done a wonderful collection of opinions of this great genre of ours that we love so much. So yeah, I'm really glad you like it. So yeah, show it off, and it'll look good on your wall. I think it will look good on your wall
Yes.
as it's done. Brilliant. All right, Macy. So I haven't really got much news to share with you. Anything
I
you're
think
in?
we'll discuss this. I think it's all been talked about.
It's all been
today.
Star Trek, hasn't it, really?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can only think of doing Star Trek in the Firm, Across the Universe. I know we played it before, but it's a good song to
Yeah.
end. Next week we're going to, although we have talked a lot about it, but we want to specifically go through each episode next week of Star Trek
Yes.
Picard. Also next week we would have seen the finale, so that then we could talk about the finale, and then we could properly judge the season in its entirety, with the pros and the many cons. But you never know. Let's just say as we finish that next week we might come back and say to each other, we were so wrong. This was the
Well, I'd like
best
to,
thing I've ever
By-
seen.
By the end of today, I would like to say.
We might say it was just as good as episode-
Fucking spectacular.
Like episode 1. If it goes back to episode 1 standards, then we'll say it's a series that went with a big dip and it came up at the end. But I've got the feeling it's going to be a big dip and it's not going to come back. It might come back slightly. Please,
Well,
can we go back? Let's go back to the future now. Can we go out, get away from 2024? It's boring. Can we just see some ships and we can see some space and see some phases and
Well, you know, time travel episodes in the past, they're just cheap.
Yeah, but I don't normally mind with like 1 or 2 episodes at the most, but it's too many. It's too long. It's been what, 7 episodes?
Four, I think
Is it-
5. Four? No, 4.
No, it's been more than that. We've had 9
Maybe
episodes.
more.
I think it's 6 or 7.
Oh, bloody
I don't know. All right, so we'll see that next week. So, Martin, thank you very much for joining me once
Yes.
again. We will catch you next week on the Solo One Sci-Fi podcast. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Star trekking across the universe.
On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk.
Star trekking across the universe.
Slowly going forward cause we can't find rebirth. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, Jim.
It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it. Captain.
There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, Jim.
Starship Captain James T. Kirk.
Ah, we come in peace, shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. We come in peace, shoot to kill, men.
It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead.
Well, it's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it. Captain.
There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow. Scrape them off, Jim.
Star trekking across the universe.
On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk.
Star trekking across the universe.
Slowly going forward and things are getting worse.
It's just that.
You cannot change the laws of physics. Laws of physics. Laws of physics. You cannot change the laws of physics. Laws of physics, Jim.
Ah, we come in peace, shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. We come in peace, shoot to kill. Scotty, beam me up.
It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. It's worse than that, he's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead.
Well, it's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it, not as we know it, Captain.
There's